I decided to flip the script with this episode and bring in a professional to interview me. Sean Kelly is one of my oldest friends and artists as well, and had multiple jobs in the newspaper industry, including reporter, for several decades. This is the end of Season 1. Stay tuned for Season 2.
Art, I want you. Art, you make it pretty hard not to. And my heart is trying hard here to follow you, but I can't always tell if I ought to.
Hi, Sean.
Hi, Andrea. I'll just say right off the top, I might switch between Drea and Andrea. I'm used to Andrea.
Yeah.
It's just, I've
It's
known Andrea
natural.
longer than Drea, so
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. To start, you've done 19 of these podcasts so far, is that?
Correct. Yeah. This is number 20.
And I wanted to ask right off the get-go what you think you came away with as some truths to all these people that you spoke to.
Well, some big ones are that everybody is an artist. Everyone has an artist inside them. And lots of people talked about how if they can't make their art, they do not feel good. In fact, some people actually get physically ill if they go for too long without doing what they're, supposed to be doing.
Really?
Yeah. And certainly I've felt that too in different kind of ways. If I haven't written anything or played my guitar or whatever, it does have an impact on me, I think.
Mm-hmm. But you say these people are getting physically ill?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's something. It's like a life essence slowly draining out of you if you don't make use of it. How about you talk to a lot of performers? What are some of the takeaways that you got looking back over their careers? I mean, you spent a lot of time performing yourself, and you've obviously learned a lot. I think in particular, when you spoke to Nudie about, the hoops that he had to go through at the ECMAs, that part of it was a bit of a racket that he didn't quite want to do. He just wanted to do his own thing. Is there some truth to that? And did that come up as a theme?
Oh, yeah, regularly. Like, I think every performer that I talked to was very, it was very obvious that they had issues with the whole music industry. And in the way that it's set up and what artists are expected to do, I've always had an issue with trying to tell people how awesome I am or why people should listen to me. And, that stuff is really just difficult and hard. So it's really kind of, I've heard from a lot of performers about how difficult it is to do that side of it when all they want to do is do the art side.
So you picked up the piano first and then later the guitar. Tell me about getting into learning those instruments and that early phase and developing your musical ability.
Yeah. So I started playing piano probably around 6 or 7 years old and took lessons for a number of years and did music festivals and that sort of thing. I was in the choir at church as well, which taught me a lot. Actually, my choir director was my cousin who played in a rock band. And so we did a lot of... there was guitar instead of just organ and stuff like that. It was a very cool church choir to be part of. But yeah, I took piano lessons. That prepared me really well for picking up the guitar. I took a few guitar lessons at community school, and then I basically taught myself the rest.
Did you? I know I did this when I started playing guitar. Did you sort of romanticize the guitar a bit? Like, I always wanted a Stratocaster. And my first guitar was a parts guitar you remember that wooden body. I think you took that guitar apart and never put it back together. But yeah, did you love that instrument or just romanticize it in the way that some people do?
Yes and no. I fell in love with guitar, I think, because it was something that you hold very close to you. You almost hug it, right?
Yeah.
And it's very close to your heart. And you can feel the vibrations in it. One of the things I really loved about the piano was that it was this big honking piece of metal and wood that had all these reverberations, right? And I loved playing really loud on it.
What's your favorite song to play on piano?
God, there was a number of them. There was a lot of Elton John and Billy Joel in the house growing up, for sure. I couldn't think of a single one exactly right now. But you know what? I spent a lot of time with the Les Miserables
Oh, yeah.
soundtrack book. I still have that, actually. It's a tattered version over there now, but
it wouldn't be an unfair assessment to say that you do like to play bangers and belters, where you bang on the keys and belt out a track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to be loud, which is hilarious because I grew up as a very quiet, and reserved kind of kid. I think that's probably why, actually. I wanted to be loud. I needed to be heard. I needed to be seen.
It's an odd dichotomy, especially with like introverted artists where, they are that quiet person, but there's, I don't know if it's a little demon that lives inside them, but they can flip a switch.
Yep.
When the lights go on and it's time to perform, right?
Yep.
Is that the same with you? Does something come over you, or are you just able to do it as a matter of training and focus?
Both, but probably more the former. There's definitely something that happens on stage, and I remember noticing it when I was acting as well, when I was doing some theater as a kid and then again in university. Like, it's that energy, like right before you go on stage, that anxiety and excitement that really, it's awesome.
Mhm.
It's a really awesome feeling. And then on top of that, to be on a stage and having a bunch of people watch just you or you with your band doing things that you created, there's not too many things that are better than that.
What's the biggest stage you ever played on?
I actually don't know. The only thing that's coming to mind is playing down on the waterfront when I was playing with Dennis's band. And we played like a side stage and there was like a big thing happening. That was cool. There was like thousands of people there.
Yep. I don't think, the biggest show I ever did was with a band. It's actually, this is still on YouTube, by the way, was Canada Day 2001 in Fredericton at Officer Square down on the waterfront. Anyway, I was going to ask whether or not, the size of the crowd makes a difference.
It does for me. I prefer a smaller crowd.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm playing on my own, because I like to communicate with the crowd, have a connection.
That's something else that Nudie brought up, is that he says, I've learned over time how to really pace a set.
Mm-hmm.
And is that the same with you? I know you do like to, have the odd chat with people in the crowd. That's
Yep.
comfortable for you, is it?
Well, it's I wouldn't say it's comfortable. It's outside of my comfort zone. But it's something that I want to do usually, because I do feel like my songs tell a story and I do want to accompany that story with a little bit of preamble here and there. And also just to connect with the crowd in different ways. Like, this was what was happening in my life and isn't this funny? Or, have you ever done this? Isn't that cool? Yay for us. Those kinds of things. I feel like it's a much more interesting experience for a smaller crowd, like in a soft seater, to have that connection with the performer,
Mm-hmm.
and it's better for the performer, I think, in some shows.
Back to musicianship. What do you like? At this stage of the game, what do you feel like you have yet to learn about being specifically a musician? And what do you want to learn in the future? Are you pushing yourself to dig deeper into your own musicality?
Yes and no. I'm pushing myself to dive deeper into songwriting and to write better and better songs. When Dennis was talking about songwriting in his episode, he was talking about writing more simply, and more directly. And that's something that I have been trying to do for years, really, is to write in a more simple way, but in a more meaningful way at the same time.
Would it be fair to say that you're attempting to shut out distractions in that process? Is that the idea?
More like getting better at a turn of phrase, like putting better words together in better ways.
Mm-hmm. Sure. No, that's totally fair. Actually, that's a brilliant segue. Let's talk about your songwriting process. So Where do you begin with that?
Things just usually come to me. They come out of the air. I don't know. They come out of anything. I can just be driving in silence and a melody, ah, uh, a melody or a line, a phrase will pop up, and I'll note it somehow. Usually, my phone is filled with one-liners or here's a verse or what have you, and then I'll usually when I get home, I'll pull out the guitar or I'll sit at the piano and I'll work on it and see if anything comes of it. And sometimes I can do a whole song that way, and sometimes I just get a verse and a chorus, and then they go back to the phone.
Did you ever actually try to establish a formal process for songwriting? Did you ever sit down to yourself and say, here are the steps that I need to take in order to produce something?
Yeah, I have done that. And I did a little bit like I did this songwriting challenge thing on Facebook a while
Oh,
ago.
yeah.
Where we would all get a songwriting prompt on like a Thursday night, and then we'd have to write and record and upload a song before Sunday, as a group, and then we would all listen to what we created. So that was a really neat way to figure out how you can write a whole song quickly. And it was super fun, and some good stuff came out of that.
Mm-hmm. From all the people that you've talked to on songwriting, has anybody's perspective on how that worked challenged you or made you say, whoa, I never thought about it that way?
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
Actually.
Okay. So the lesson then is it's an organic thing. And yeah. Okay. For you, when you started, how did you approach writing for an audience?
Well, when I started, I didn't really write for an audience because I didn't know what that meant. And I didn't even really know what writing was. So I just wrote whatever was coming out, and I tried to do things differently and test myself and write in different keys with different tempos and different arrangements and that sort of thing. At a certain point when I was playing a lot, though, I was seeing what songs were working in certain ways, in certain audiences, and what wasn't. And so I was kind of subconsciously skewing my writing, I think, to be writing more for the audiences that I was playing for regularly. And then after a while, I was realizing that I didn't want to play for drunk people at the bar.
Yeah.
I didn't want to write for them, that was not what I should be doing. So I kind of dialed that back, and I just kind of let it flow freely again.
There's definitely a sunset on that part of your, yeah. You've done a few collaborations over the years. Do you prefer to write alone, or do you think there's place for both types of songwriting?
I think there's place for both, absolutely. I haven't done a whole lot of co-writing, but a little bit here and there, and I'd love to do more. I think Nathan Wiley said exactly the same thing when I asked him about co-writing. It's an interesting process, and it's very it's way out of my comfort zone to do it, which is one of the reasons why I want to do it.
Does it feel sometimes like you're afraid that there might just be too many cooks in the kitchen when you're trying to make something?
I remember before I did it wondering how it would even work, because all I was used to was writing on my own, and you're like, I was like, how do you decide who writes what and who does what? But I mean, the answer is you just figure it out in the room and you just do it. And everybody has half-finished songs, or they have that, that first verse or whatever to bring to the table. So there's never any worry that there's going to be nothing there.
Is there anybody that you'd still like to collaborate with?
Yeah. Yeah. You know who I've been thinking about for a while is Mitch Skierman.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to write some songs with Mitch.
Absolutely.
So, Mitch, if you're listening, I'm coming for you. But, there's so many people. All of the people that I talk to on this podcast, I'd love to write a song with.
How do you know when a song is finished? Do you have that where you write something and you're like, yeah, this is what it is, but this is not what it could be?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's interesting because normally I'll finish the song and then that's it. I don't really go back to it, but there has been a few that I have tried to edit after I've already been playing it for several years, and I've found that it's very, very hard for me to do. I don't really know why, except for the fact that it's probably ingrained in my head in a certain way. But I've realized that, maybe one line could be so much better. Why don't you fix that one line? And so I'll do it and I'll play it a few times and then I'll go perform and the old line just comes out anyway. And so I don't know if that's just, you know, I've practiced it into my brain and then it's there forever, or was that how it was meant to be and I should just stop fucking with it?
Yep. Yep. There's a genre question here. I'm referring to some questions that you supplied to me before we decided to do this.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no, thank you. Now, you flirted with country. You flirted with rock and roll. Where are you at now?
Oh, I'm still there.
Oh, somewhere in between, like the Mojave and Los Angeles?
Yeah, I don't know. Those are things that have just kind of come out in my music. I haven't really tried to do it. I think it depends on what I'm listening to or just what the song needs whenever it starts coming through me. I don't know. I never really planned to write a country song. A bunch of songs just kind of came out that way. And I do like, the steel guitar and
I love the steel guitar.
Twangy Telecasters.
I wanted to get one. And then I started looking online and I'm like, a Fender 400 is $4,000? What?
Oh, no. You can get a new one for $500. You can get a beautiful.
You can?
Yeah.
Okay, then I want one real bad.
Okay, we'll find one for you.
Awesome. All right. No, I idly, this is not going to.
Are you talking pedal steel?
Yeah, pedal steel.
Yeah. We can't get you one for $500.
Yeah. But then again, I don't know if I'll be able to control it because as I understand it, there are pedals underneath it that you have to move your knees laterally in order to yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
Start with a lap steel, maybe.
Yeah. So if you were to you haven't put together an album or written a ton of songs lately, but if you were to do that again right now, where would you start? What sort of genres? What sort of ideas? What are you interested in right now?
So, a little bit of everything. Like the stuff that I've been writing lately, it's coming out kind of the same as the general theme of most of my music over the years, which is a little angsty and a little up-tempo. And there's also been a couple of attempts at like protest songs, like more political kind of things, which I feel like is something that I feel like I should be doing right now. And I've talked about that a little bit with guests on the podcast too, to see if other people are thinking that. And the general consensus is yes, we should be we should be doing something about the state of the world as artists. But I've been struggling to figure out what that is for me. So anyway, I guess I've just been doing mostly pretty much the same thing, but I'm writing about different things because I'm older now and the world's a different place.
Yeah, it certainly is. That's an interesting point. I don't know. Do you think that some people might feel an obligation to write a bit more angsty and more protesty these days?
Yeah, I think a lot of artists are feeling the call to do something, to say something about what's going on.
Yeah.
And whether it comes out as kind of like, angsty or more folk, whatever. I think everyone's feeling it though.
I'm wondering where all the punk music went. No, this
still happening, man.
I know. Like, I couldn't believe it, actually. Propaganda is still putting out albums.
Yes.
And they're not bad.
Nope.
One question here stuck out to me about vulnerability. Do you think it's necessary in order to be able to produce art?
I think it's inherent in producing art that you are being vulnerable. You're basically taking your innermost thoughts and feelings and putting them on a canvas or in a song or in a book or in a poem, and you're giving it to strangers. What the fuck? What will they do with it? What will they think of it? This is my soul. It's big.
Do you think it can be done without vulnerability? Or is that inherently not?
Yeah, it's called AI. No, I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I think there are commercial writers that are just, making art for money, and doing very well at it. And I think a lot of people maybe don't feel vulnerable when they're making and producing art. I don't know. I don't know what that's like because I feel very vulnerable, which is good because I feel like that's an important thing to feel as a human.
Would you call yourself a natural storyteller? Do you like to tell stories through what you do?
I do like to tell stories, but I think um, how that how I like to tell stories is looking at my own self and life. I'm not one to think of a story that's happening out there and write that, like, or make up a story in my head about people and write that song. I'm more of I'm feeling this, or this line came out and then the next line. Anyway, I don't know if that makes any sense. Yes, I feel like I'm a storyteller, but I'm a storyteller about my own life.
How about this then? Let me put it like this. I would feel that in the theme of vulnerability, what you produce sometimes is a shared experience of emotion. Sometimes it can be just that. And that's a form of storytelling as well. I mean, it's art.
Yep.
I think that gives the depth and nuance to these emotions that we all share.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever actually, let me ask that, have you ever written a song just on raw emotion and tried just to convey that?
Yeah, like most of the songs that I wrote in my 20s.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, even when I'm writing something, even when I was 20 years old and I was writing something that was very raw and very, real, it was also like, it was also telling a story of where I was in my life at that point.
So where you are in your life at this point, first of all, I guess I didn't ask the question, where did the idea for this podcast come from? Like what did you want to set out to achieve?
I started thinking about it a few years ago when I started taking the bus to work, the rural transit bus. And I knew that podcasts existed and I had listened to a couple, but I was like, okay, now we're going to get into it. We're on the bus for an hour towards work and an hour at home, so we're going to do it. And so I dove in, and what I realized was that podcasts were a really great way of connecting with people. And I felt, since I moved out east, and also I am generally a reclusive person in general.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That I was like, this could be a way for you to connect with people, and a lot of artists.
Oh, okay. Just before you continue,
Uh-huh.
is that where this came from? I want a way to connect with people.
Yeah.
That I'm not talking to on a regular basis.
Yeah, basically I wanted to talk to my friends about art. And I also wanted to, people don't often hear from the artists. They hear the songs and they hear, they see the paintings and they see the plays and whatever, they read the books, but how often do they actually hear from the artists about who they are and why they make art?
Yeah.
It's rare, right? So I thought, why don't we have a series of talks with other artists about why they're making art, how they've made art, how it changed, why it's important, and get that out into the world.
Do you think that, I mean, everybody, like, as we've established, everybody on some level is artistic. It's just part of human nature. But the people that do it for a living and the people that espouse it as a practice and a study and as a performative ability, I guess, what can you now say about artists that is kind of different than the average person who might just, toll paint or something like that?
Well, I don't think there's any difference between the people that toll paint and the people that, sell canvases for money. Yeah, I'll take that back.
I'm not slagging on toll painters. I just...
So what I'm trying to get at is, why are people making art a priority in their lives? So, yeah, I'm targeting the people that have continuously been working in art for their life, essentially. at different stages in their life. And because it's hard, because the society we live in is not geared towards artists thriving.
Never has been. Do you think, I'll go back to what we were just talking about, but do you think outlets like everybody and their dog these days has a Patreon? Do those sorts of platforms help the starving artist, so to speak, or is it just a Band-Aid over what the bigger issue is?
Yeah, I'm probably not the best person to talk about that because I don't have one, and I don't know because I don't make art for money, essentially. But I do think that things like that are important right now because of how shitty everything's gotten in regards to artists being supported. People can get things for free everywhere. People can get songs for free. People can get art for free. Everything's been devalued, I feel.
Well, I would tend to agree there. Back on the podcast itself, if you could pick one thing that you got out of it just for you that might be a little selfish, and we've established, yes, you did want to speak with people that you know about a subject that you love, but what else? Anything else that you've taken away that you're like, yeah, I really needed to hear that, or that sort of thing?
Mostly that we're all in the same boat. We're all on the same island, except for Shannon and Tess, who I talk to, who are far away from the island. But even they are in the same boat as artists here. It's all a struggle, and it's all worth it.
It's not going to get easier.
No.
And I think, as we've alluded to here, that the ubiquity of generative art is going to be everywhere. It already is everywhere,
yeah.
But the quality of it's only going to increase. As somebody staring down the barrel of the next even 5 years, how do you stay optimistic as somebody who wants to produce something yourself?
I think there'll always be a place for authenticity. So I'm just going to do it, and I don't care what happens.
Yeah, that sounds like the right reason. Damn the torpedoes.
Exactly. Because I've been feeling very much like I don't want to be in the industry part of the art world, as important as it is in some ways, I did want to be part of the art world somehow, but not necessarily physically, because I do really just want to stay in my house most of the time. So that was one of the big reasons to do this as well, is for my voice to get out there in the world, but me to stay right here on my couch.
That's perfectly acceptable. And as I might have said earlier on in this conversation, I've always found you to be tremendous at being a focal point for creative individuals. Like you seem to be natural at being surrounded by people with talent and people with creative vision. So I mean, if that's where you want to situate yourself, even if it's in your own house with a couple of microphones and a couple of cats, I mean, more power to you.
Well, this is not going to stop. Season 1 is over.
What do you hope to achieve going forward?
I just want to keep doing this, and I want to talk to as many different kinds of artists as I can on PEI, and also, away from PEI, because as you know, because a lot of people would share our apartment with us as they were touring through PEI.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people across Canada and that I would love to talk to. So season 2 is probably going to be a mix of people from away and some local people. And it won't be long before season 2 is out. It'll be this winter sometime.
Okay. And one thing that I think you can always count on here on PEI is that you'll never have a shortage of interesting people to talk to.
No, I made a list when I first started preparing for this of the people that I wanted to talk to. And there's, like, I stopped because it was like over 200 people long. But there's way more than that just on the island that I want to talk to about this.
You know more than 200 people? That's incredible.
Some of those are people that I don't know very well, or haven't met, or that admire, and just want to talk to them. So look out, PEI.
Excellent. All right. Well, I have no more questions. And I think we've come to a natural cadence here, so I'm going to call it.
Okay. Sean, thanks for doing this. It was nice to be interviewed by someone that knows what they're doing.
I don't know about that,
Rather
but
than all of my
thank you for allowing me into this space.
I wondered what would be the worth of my words in the world. If I write them and then recite them, are they worth being heard? Just because I like them, does that mean that I should mic them and see what might unfurl? And I think of the significance of my opinions here. Is it significant to be giving them? Does anybody care? Just because I'm into this, does that mean that I should live like it? And really, do I dare? Art, I want you. Art, you make it pretty hard not to. And my heart is trying hard here to follow you, but I can't always tell if I ought to. So I pondered the point of my art in this life. If I make it, will someone take it and think that it's genuine? Would they be glad that I did, 'cause they got something good out of it? Would they leave me and be any more inspired? And I question the outcome of the outpouring of myself. If I tell everyone my stories, would this keep me healthy and well? Would it give me purpose, and to this world some sort of service? Is it worth it? How could I tell? Art, I want you. Art, you make it pretty hard not to. And my heart is trying hard here to follow you, but I can't always tell if I